Hello and much love to anyone that clicked on the video. For those that don't know me, my name is Lightning Hearts, and today I want to kickstart my character guide series for Under Knife and Birth 2 because I want you, beautiful people, to get into an amazing fighting game. The main things I'm going to be covering through this series is their normals, their specials, their VOPAL trait, as well as their force function. Give y'all a simple breakdown at the beginning of the guide, and towards the end I'm gonna leave a little bit of tips and tricks to where y'all can go about learning the character a little more easily. The only thing I'm not going to be covering is combos, because mission mode does a great job at teaching players how to go about their combos. So if you want to learn some combos for your respective character, please hop in mission mode. They do a way better job than probably I would do if I was to tell y'all how to do combos. But yeah, if y'all like the video, make sure y'all leave a like, comment down below what character y'all would like to see in the upcoming guides, and please give me some feedback if there's anything that I can do better with this series as a whole. And if you really like my content, make sure you subscribe to my channel. But get out of here, learn some Enkidu. Hopefully you have a blessed day as well as a great week, and stay tuned to the next one. Y'all take care. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a simple breakdown on the martial artist himself, Enkidu. This character is essentially a rushdown with a lot of good anti-zoning options, those being 4C, 214, 4B plus C, as well as his 3C and 236. You're going to utilize these moves to overall combat anything that you face within the neutral, so you can get in on your opponent. Another great thing that Enkidu has is that once he gets VOPAL, he has something called Havoc, which basically gives him more hit stun on counter hit, allowing you to go for any sort of combo route that you deem necessary within the situation. But this character doesn't come without his weaknesses as well. Enkidu does not have a traditional projectile. The only projectile he has is his IW, which obviously costs 200 meters, which is expensive. Another weakness that Enkidu has is that his defensive options aren't really that good either. He has his parries, but his parries gets beat by grabs, and he only has one DP that costs 100 meters. So this character promotes you to play more defensive than most of the characters in this game. So if you decide to pick him up, you have to be comfortable with blocking. But that was a simple breakdown on the martial artist. Now let me talk about his normals. Okay, ENKIDU'S normals. The way I'm going to be structuring this segment of the video is that I like to do it in chronological order. I like talking about his A normals first, then his B normals, and C normals, kind of like we're climbing up some stairs, because one thing leads to another, and I feel like this is an easier way of kind of conveying what the properties of these normals do. So bear with me, this is going to be a long ass explanation, but hopefully I'm going to break it down to where y'all can understand. Let's hide on all guard and not no reversal bullshit. Let me see. There we go. Enkidu's A normals. Enkidu has a 6 frame 5A and a 6 frame 2A. 2A is -3 on block, not bad. His 5A is -1 on block, pretty good. If you press 2A in rapid succession, you could probably link it with your opponent 4 times, pretty good. If you stagger it, then it's 3 to 2 times. Enkidu's 5A is probably the most unique in Under Knife and Birth, because he is the only character that can't utilize the 4A option. So for people that don't know what that is, I'm going to showcase this for y'all now. If you hold 4, which is back, for people that don't know notations, you can abuse the fuck out of your 5A animation, right? You see, I'm slightly pushing Enkidu back. I can't do that with Enkidu because unfortunately this character has a second animation hit with his 5A normal. So you see, even though I have the same inputs, he has to commit to the second hit. And obviously you can see this is not as fluent or as fast as when Hyde does it. You see, he's doing it probably like 7 times. 1 2 3 4 5 6 maybe 7 times if you're in the corner, but about 6 times Enkidu. 1 2 3, like, it's not that good. He doesn't miss out on anything other than spacing. The logic behind it is still the same, but I think that was something I wanted to add within the guide just so y'all understand. Now, let me talk about ENKIDU'S B normals. ENKIDU'S B normals are pretty good. He has a far-reaching 5B. You can kind of think of this as Ragnar's 5C from Blaze Blue Central Fiction. They, weirdly enough, have almost the same animation. But it's -7, ladies and gentlemen. This is punishable if you don't cancel into anything. And the same can be said with his 2B. His 2B is -9 instead of -7 with his 5B. So you really have to space this normal out. I see a lot of ENKIDU players staggering with 2B, and it's like, it has a good, I guess, delay window, but please be mindful. Now, the interesting properties behind a lot of ENKIDU'S normals is that his base normals have follow-ups. His follow-ups are the same input, which is 5BB, right? For anyone that doesn't know how to end off with ENKIDU'S pressure, this is a concept I want y'all to come to understand as you play this character. The second hit, whether it be his normals or his 236 special, is 90% of the time safe. His 5BB is -3 on block. This is safe. So if you want to end your pressure like this, you can. And since you can delay it, if you know you're dealing with someone that's mashing, you can do stuff like this. Delay it slightly and literally reap the rewards, because now you know your opponent doesn't like blocking. So basically the second hits are safe, are delayable, and they have another special utility with it, but I'm not going to explain what that utility is until later into this guide. So I talk about his 5BB. Let me talk about his 5B ender, 5BBB, right? This is -8 on block. Obviously, if you don't cancel into anything, it's punishable. I would say if you're going to go for this ender, please make sure you have meter behind you to keep yourself safe or to continue your pressure. But the best thing about ENKIDU'S 5B string is that you can link it in with his C string. So this is what it looks like. You see? You can literally go right into the C string. And this is good for people that don't really understand ENKIDU'S combo structure yet. So you can do stuff like this. And still get 3k amount of damage. So this is good. You see? Decent damage for just me pressing the same buttons in a sequence. And yeah, and again, before I forget to mention this, his ender or second hit of his 5C is -6. So if you go for this string, you want to end it around here, because this is safe and people cannot punish you. So you can do stuff like this. See, you're safe. You can either stop here or you can stop here. So pretty good. Excuse me if y'all hear a little bit of snoring. I hope it doesn't get annoying. I'm kind of sick. But let's continue. ENKIDU'S C normals, like I haven't showcased already, his 5C second follow-up is safe. But the best thing about ENKIDU'S 5C ender is that you can delay the final hit. So you can do something like this. Unfortunately, you don't get a combo like you would 5BB or 5CC. Let me see if I can really... You see, you get a conversion, but you can't get a conversion off the final hit of his 5C ender. And mind you, you can't go into 5C into 5B. Once you commit to the string, you commit. But 5B is a different case. Right? Now, once you fully charge ENKIDU'S 5C, it becomes an overhead. And you see, Hyde had a block Hyde that time. So this is what happens if your opponent doesn't block this overhead. You get a side swap. So you're able to side swap into the corner. Pretty good. And if you feel like your opponent did block your overhead, it doesn't change the fact that you can still go for his follow-ups. Like I said, second hit, safe and delayable. Doesn't change any of the properties, even if you start off with his overhead. So pretty good. If you don't cancel into anything, this is -13. I don't need to say it. It's punishable. Now, let me talk about ENKIDU'S 2C. ENKIDU'S 2C is arguably the most punishable string that he has in his whole entire arsenal. His 2C has a dive kick at the end, but there's a lot of holes with this string. So let me kind of break it down. 2C by itself is -13. Obviously, don't need to mention it. His 2CC is -8 on block. This is punishable. This is punishable. So you really can't stagger with this as good as you would want to. He has a dive kick at the end with side swaps, but if people wait out this string, they can arguably get better reward. So let me see if I can showcase this for y'all. So if you go for the dive kick, you get IW'd. If you go for the, I think, can people backdash this? You can get backdashed on. If you go for the dive kick, creeping edge. This string has a ton of holes in it. So please be mindful that if you really want to utilize 2C, you have to condition your opponent first. So just to clarify, ENKIDU'S 2C, you can also has a charge version. Pay attention to the range. If I don't charge it, it's around this line, but if I fully charge it, it connects with high. And you can still go for the same follow-ups like you would 5C charge. So really, really good. Now, the other Shino rules now I want to talk about is his 4C and his 3C. ENKIDU'S 4C does a lot of beautiful shit for you. I cannot express that. Let me showcase one of the properties. ENKIDU'S 4C is one of his anti-zoning options. This destroys projectiles, right? And on block, it's -6. So this is somewhat a good way of ending your pressure. Like 5CC being at -6, you can somewhat end your pressure like this too. Or not somewhat. You can end your pressure like this, but again, if people know their frame data and they're really sweaty, you can somewhat get punished if someone has like a 5 frame. So you can end your pressure like right here. So it destroys projectiles. It's a great way of ending your pressure, or a safe option of ending your pressure. And you want to think of this normal as like Kazuya's gut punch in Tekken 8. Those two characters, in a weird sense, kind of play the game in the same way, because these characters reward you a lot on you understanding the matchup and you being really good on the defensive end. So like Kazuya's gut punch, I think it's down forward 1+2 if I remember correctly. I haven't played Tekken 8 in a long time, but if someone is pressing buttons at you, you can literally throw this out and say stop. Let me see if I can showcase this, right? You see? You can kind of throw this out to stop your opponent from coming in at you. You see? Like right here. And get rewarded a combo. For some reason, I have this weird thing where I keep a lot of my block strings safe, so it's an old habit, so forgive me for that. But if someone's rushing in at you, this is a good stop. I don't want you to do what you're doing to me. It's still my go in the neutral. So 4C is a pretty goated counter hitting tool. And you can charge 4C, which gives you more of a frontwards hitbox. So right here, when I charge it, you see ENKIDU moves slightly forward. So pretty good. Now ENKIDU'S 3C, instead of this normal destroying projectiles, this evades projectiles. And you will opt more for charging it rather than doing it normally, because when you do it normally, look at the range. It doesn't go anywhere. You 90% of the time have to charge this this normal. I would say that you would utilize 3C more in block strings than you would in the neutral, because anybody that's a true Enkidu player, y'all realize that 3C has a lot of counterplay towards it. I'm just gonna let y'all beginners know right now. I'd rather y'all go for 4C early rather than y'all going for 3C, because when you fight those good players, you're gonna see that this normal becomes obsolete. Now that I mentioned that, what's another thing I could talk about? His 6C. Enkidu's 6C is his second overhead once you fully charge it. Is he on reverse action? Nope. Okay. So, if you fully charge his 6C, which looks like this, it's his second overhead. And if you confirm the hit, you have to special cancel with 2-2B to get a combo. On counter hit, I think you get a regular combo with 2B. So yeah. So, really good. And again, if people don't know how to end their pressure, ending it with the non-charged version is only -4 on block. This is another great way of kind of ending your turn. Pretty self-explanatory. It's a second overhead, nothing too crazy. You can end your pressure or go for a mix-up opportunity. Now Enkidu's dash normals, which is dash B and dash C. These normals are kind of situational. Let me talk about dash C first, or dash B first. Dash B is kind of a weird mind game. And the only reason why I say weird mind game, because on block is -4. Which means that people can grab you, because grab in of itself, as you can see, right on top of Enkidu, is -4. So once you go for dash B, people are going to grab you 90% of the time, because they know that's how you punish the normal. But you make a mind game where incorporating the dive kick. So you go for dive kick, back dash, or dash B grab, right? So it's kind of like a little small mind game that you can play around your opponent. So that's really it. You can also utilize dash B for combos like this. So pretty good. Dash C, however, this move is almost a call out for people backdashing you 24/7, because if you don't time your normals properly, a lot of Enkidu shit can get backdashed if they like delay tech or they like tech backwards. A lot of his shit can get backdashed. So you do something like this, a lot of his shit can get backdashed. Obviously I messed up the meaty there, but that's why you want to use dash C. Okay, dash C is kind of like a hard call out. So you see, if you backdash, I can do dash C and basically fuck you up. But dash C, I believe, got nerfed. It's not as good as it was in ST because it has a gap. You can special cancel, but this is what happens. So you see, dash C, I get DP'd on and all sorts of dumb shit. So dash C has a little bit of issues, but if you know someone's backdashing, dash C is probably one of your options. So pretty standard. Now Enkidu's J normals, simplistic JA. This is good for baiting out shield. Also good for combo extensions. JB has a downwards hitbox. This is good for catching crouching opponents, like around here. And 5C, you have to kind of wait until you're like at that near Hyde's head. But JB, you can see I can hit him from like up here. And JCC has a second hit. So JCC has a second hit, which basically throws them towards the wall. This is used for corner combos. So really good. I think that's all I want to mention with EQ's normals. But the concept I want to leave y'all with is that his 5BB is great. It's safe. 5CC, great. It's safe. You can delay it. His enders, if you do something like the 5B string, you can go into his 5C, which is good for combos, or if you don't really know ENKIDU'S combos yet, you can just go for that. And yeah, just be mindful that the second hit of his follow-ups are normally delayable and safe. But that being said, let me talk about ENKIDU'S specials. ENKIDU'S specials, let's get into it. ENKIDU has 7 specials in general. He has his Rekka, which is his 236, his parry, which is his 214. The move where you're going to utilize a lot for your plus frames is his 2-2, his 6-2-3, his dive kick, as well as the newest move that was added on Knife and Birth 2, his EX command throw. If I can do it on our case or hitbox, this move, and obviously his IW. So I'm going to discuss a lot of these specials in depth, but the ones that I'm really going to explain a lot is his Rekka and his parry, because these 2 specials make up ENKIDU'S pressure, if I'm being honest. His 2-2 as well, but his 2-2 is pretty self-explanatory. This is where you're just going to get his plus frames. But let me get started. ENKIDU'S Rekkas follow the same exact concept as his normals. If y'all seen the other segment of this guide, what I basically said was that the second hit of his follow-ups off his normals are usually safe, or 9% of the time safe, and you can delay it. His Rekkas are no different. You see, 5CC is -6. His A version of his Rekka, when you do the second hit, is -5. And if you really pay attention to the animation, it's literally the same thing. And I want y'all to pay attention to what happens when you delay each one. So this is 5CC. He goes airborne. And this is 236A into 6A. He remains standing. So obviously you can get a combo with both of them, but pretty cool detail to add in for the guide. Obviously, ENKIDU has the Ender with his Rekka. This is what it looks like. This is -22, so please be careful that if you're going to go for his Ender, you either A, have to know that your opponent's about to mash at you, because you can delay it. Let me showcase this for y'all now. You can delay this, but if your opponent is really patient, then you want to have either VOPAL backing you up, the chain shift, or some meter to special cancel into 2-2C. So make sure you have some resources on you when you go for his Ender. That is ENKIDU'S 236A Rekka variation or version. Let me talk about his B now. ENKIDU'S 236B hits slightly further than the A version. Let me showcase this for y'all now. His A hits right around here. His B hits slightly above that. So pretty good. And instead of ENKIDU going for this second punch on his Rekka, he will opt more for going for this low kick, which is -7 on block. This is sort of punishable, but again, you can delay it and get a combo, which is good. And this is what ENKIDU'S finisher looks like on the B version. He does this uppercut, which basically hits your opponent airborne. You see? You can't get no combo unless you want a special cancel, but you can also kind of delay it at the end too. Now, another unique property behind ENKIDU'S B Rekka is that you can actually charge it. So I want you to really pay attention to the range. This is what happens when you charge it. He gets way more reach, or way more range. Obviously, this is -10. This is punishable if you don't have any resources, but we want to utilize charge 236B for situations like this. Let's say Hyde is zoning at you and you successfully destroy a projectile with your 4C. This is a great way of you kind of stopping your opponent from zoning at you. So let me showcase this one more time. Great way of you getting in. And 236B charge is also your staple corner carry combo. Or corner carry tool for corner combos, if that makes sense. So let me show y'all real quick. This, where is it? There we go. So that's basically what that's used for also. It's your bread and butter for corner combos. Now, I want y'all to also think of this too. The best thing about ENKIDU'S Rekkas, y'all probably peeped this already because I showed this off. But the best thing about ENKIDU'S Rekka is that it's not like his normals. His normals, if you whiff them, you can't go for their follow-ups at all whatsoever. You have to connect with your opponent's character. Alright, he's now on reverse action. Let me put on all guard. So you see, ENKIDU can't do the follow-ups unless he hits your opponent. But the Rekkas does not have that restriction. You can literally throw out your Rekkas from this range and still go for his ender. You see? So, trust me, when you go for ENKIDU'S Rekkas, you don't have to realistically connect with your opponent's character. You go for 236B and still go for his follow-ups. So again, if you're in a situation where someone's zoning at you, you can literally do stuff like this and stop your opponent from approaching at you. Now that I said that, let me explain ENKIDU'S 236C, the EX version. The EX version was very bad in the previous Ununderknife and Birth games, if I'm giving y'all a little history lesson, because when you do this move and your opponent successfully blocks, you will literally be at their face asking them to punish you. But in the 1.10 balance patch, they buffed the move and it's projectile invincible. So let me showcase this for y'all now. You see, it goes through projectiles and it basically bitch slaps your opponent's character across the map. Now, this is what happens if they block it. Same thing. They're getting sent flying, is only -3. People can't punish this. So if you can react to someone zoning at you or throwing a projectile, this is a great answer of combating that. Or a great option. Right? Pretty good. And before I end off this talk with his Rekkas, let me just explain this also so I don't forget. If, let's say for example, right? If you start off with ENKIDU'S 236A, you are not restricted in any sense on going for Rekka AAA. You can go for Rekka 236A into 6B. 6B or 236B into 6A. You're not restricted in any sense to where you have to start off with a Rekka and end with that same Rekka variation. So if you start off with B, you can do 6A. Pretty blessed. Now, let me start talking about his 214, which is his parry. ENKIDU'S parry is really situational. I cannot stress that enough. His parry, his 214A parry is only really utilized for getting out the corner. Let's say I put high to hit me right here. This is the properties behind his 214A. He basically side swaps, and now you're out the corner for you to go for some pressure. But the only downside to this is that you don't get a combo whatsoever. The only time you get a combo is when you chain shift. But you shouldn't chain shift in this situation unless your opponent's like 20% health, because the combo, it scales your damage a lot. So only use 214A unless you're in the corner so you can get out of it. Now I'm out the corner. Now I can meaty with like 5B or whatever normal. Now, this is where his B version comes in handy. Look what happens. Instead of ENKIDU throwing you grounded, he will throw you in the air. So now you can actually get a combo. Do it one more time. And you see, it doesn't scale your damage as heavy as the A version does. And mind you, let's say you land a successful parry in the mid screen. You can do 236B charge into EX cancel, and you're basically at the corner. So this is really, really, really good. And what else should I talk about? Oh yeah, his EX parry. Instead of Enkidu going for this hand pose, he'll go lift his leg, and this parry is really active. But I'm not gonna lie with y'all, the only weaknesses behind these parries is that you can get grabbed. So let's say, for example, you think someone's gonna mash a button at you and he grabs you, he can literally hit you out of this EX cancel. So the best advice I can give you beginner players or new players in general is that you kind of want to use this as a anti-air option sometimes. And if you know certain matchups with Enkidu, that's when you can kind of sneak it in. His 236C comes out really fast, so it's best used in chain shift situations like this as well. There we go. You would basically use his EX counter in those type of situations, or as an anti-air option. So only really do this EX counter when you have VOPAL backing you up, or unless you know someone's staggering their pressure, or as a anti-air option. That's when you would use his EX parry. Now, if you want to incorporate ENKIDU'S parry on his offense, this is how you would do it. Remember when I said that his second hits of his normals are safe, delayable, and there was another factor I didn't mention? This is where the parry comes in. His 5BB, you can special cancel with his parry to really layer your pressure. And mind you, he can't special cancel into anything else but the parry. So if I do 5CC, I can do parry. If I do 2C into 2C, I can parry. And 5BB, parry. This layers your pressure. So let's say, for example, Hyde is being really, really patient. Let's say 5 frames. And now you can add in the parry to have your opponent second guess, and now you're really conditioning your I guess your opponent's mind. So stagger 5BB, and that doesn't work, you can sneak in the parry, or 5BB to A, continue your pressure, because now they're scared of you implementing that special. And you will opt more for going for the B version because obviously it gives you a conversion. So pretty cool. Now, is there anything else I should add before I move on to his other specials? Yeah, I would say this as a little advice too. His parries are good in the defensive way, but please start incorporating it in your offense because of how well it's going to layer your pressure later on. So please, 5CC, it's a parry. 5BB, it's a parry. And 2CC, it's a parry. Pretty dope. Now let's talk about the special that you're going to utilize a lot of your plus frames for, which is his 22B and 22C. This move. Yeah, hide off of this. ENKIDU'S, let me talk about his 22A first. ENKIDU'S 22A is -2 on block. This is good. This is another great way of ending your pressure for those that don't know how to remain safe. 22A is your best friend. So if you do something like 3C, go straight into 22A. Pretty nice. Now 22B is +2 on block. And you can charge 22B for more plus frames, which gets from +2 to +8. This is an advice I want to leave y'all with, is that you don't want to get obvious with ENKIDU'S 22B. Most beginner Enkidu players do is the same sequence. They would keep going for 22B in this scenario, and you shouldn't do that. You should try to sneak it in as randomly as possible, if that makes sense. So 5C, 2-2B. 2B, 5C, 2-2B. Once you condition your opponent to kind of wait out your parries and your pressure because you're delaying it and you're throwing out parries here and there, that's when you can start utilizing his 2-2B as well as his 2-2C. Right? So please don't get obvious with this special. Start incorporating it and random block strings so you can mix up your opponent. ENKIDU'S 2-2C is pretty, this the same thing. Instead of it being +8, is literally +4. Continue your pressure with 5A. Pretty self-explanatory. It also has a pretty good upwards hitbox. Where is it? So if someone's jumping, you can do 2-2C. And you can get a combo. Pretty nice. Pretty nice, as I do say so myself. But that is ENKIDU'S 2-2 special. Pretty self-explanatory. This is where you're gonna utilize a lot of your plus frames. And you can also do his 2-2 special and combos as well. Just to add this before I move on, you can do stuff like this. Let me see, what's an easy combo? You do stuff like this. So you can kind of style with 2-2B and combos. So don't forget, especially once you link it into this overhead, you would chain it with 2-2B. So pretty blessed. Now, let me talk about ENKIDU 623. I'm not gonna spend that long on this special because it's basically your corner combo conversions. This is what your corner combo is gonna look like once you understand ENKIDU'S combo structure. Literally, that's it. This is basically used for the corner. And I can't do combos once I start recording, so forgive me. His 236 or 623 is his DP as well. This, obviously, get off me too if someone's pressuring you. So you'll only really utilize this special if you have 100 meters. So that's basically what it's used for, his DP. 623 also crushes lows as well. So if someone's pressuring you or throwing out lows, when I'm off, if I can do it, like right there. Now, that's his 623. Let me go into his dive kick. Dive kicks are for combo conversions, which is J236. We mainly use this for combos in certain chain-chip situations once you understand a lot of matchups in this game. So, and it's a great whiff punishing tool. So if I whiff 5C right here, I can jump back and land with a dive kick. So this is a pretty good whiff punishing tool as well. The EX version of ENKIDU'S dive kick is plus, I think, 1 to 2 on block. It always varies in terms of frame data. This was +3. I think around this range. Might be the same, might be low. Frame data always changes. But when your opponent is crouching, you get way more plus frames, right? So let's see if I can do something like this, right? You get +4 there. If you do something like 623 and that EX cancel, you get about +4, +3. So pretty cool. Even though it says +3, like I said, like this special is really weird in terms of frame data. It always varies. You might get a +3, a +1, a +4. So yeah, let me do it one more time. Yeah, like you see now it's +4. Other times it was +3. It really depends. So pretty cool. Now, the newest move that was added in Under Knife and Birth 2, his EX command throw, is really situational to use. You can throw it in at the end of your record to kind of surprise your opponent if they're not looking out for it. But the only time you will utilize this special is that if you're able to react to green shield. And that's really high level play. So if someone is shielding consistently, let's say like this. Let me see if I can do it to where he's gonna, not that, where is it? Simple recovery, no. But let's put it like around here, right? You see that pop that comes out when high shields? Basically, that's what it's used for. I'm not showcasing this as best as I could, but trust me when I say that is for reacting to green shield. And you can also use this special for some Oki once you end your combo. So you can do stuff like this. Let me see if I can do it. You get way more Oki, which is pretty blessed. So his ES command throw, his 360 command throw, you can use it if you're able to react to green shield. It gives you way more Oki if you do it at the end of your combos. It also grants you a good, decent corner combo or corner carry combo if you have VOPAL. So pretty blessed. And that's really it. The only thing that I want to tell y'all that might make this a negative is that for those that don't know, if you tech in Under Knife and Birth, you completely ended your pressure and your opponent is plus. So if you throw out this command throw and people tech it, you're negative. You're -8 here. So you're essentially wasting 100 meters if someone techs this throw. So let me just showcase this for y'all. You see I'm at 100. I do his EX command throw. Now I'm negative. I'm -8 here. And I waste 100 meters for no reason. So please be mindful of when you want to sneak in this command throw. ENKIDU'S IW. ENKIDU'S IW is the only projectile that he has. I think in certain instances it's safe as well as being plus sometimes. I'm not too sure. So you see, you can literally run back behind ENKIDU. So if you're like right here and you throw out his IW, this is usually safe. Let me do it like this. You see, his IW is safe, and this is the only projectile he has in his entire arsenal. So if you feel like someone's gonna mash on you or they're doing like a special, throwing this out sometimes, especially if you have more blocks than your other opponent, like right here, this wouldn't be like a dumb strategy to do. So you see, you have good amount of grid on your side. I'm in CS VOPAL. I throw out IW, and now when I change shift, I can get my meter back and still go for some pressure, right? So only really throw out this special if you have like a ton of grid on your side. So that's a little mind game with his IW. But I think that's it when it comes to ENKIDU specials. I cover his Rekka, his 214, his 2-2, his 6-2-3, his dive kick, and his command throw, as well as his IW. I guess his Infinity Worth EX, pretty standard. This is what it looks like. It puts on way more damage than his IW, so only do this if you're like below 40% health. Shit is pretty badass. But yeah, that's it for ENKIDU'S specials. Now let me talk about his force functions. Now we are on one of my favorite parts of the guide, talking about ENKIDU'S force function. Ladies and gentlemen, ENKIDU is, his force function makes you feel like a thief in the bank, because there's a lot of shit that you're going to be robbing people once you fully know how to play this character. Being his goated anti-air option being B+C, FF as you will, and the new move added to him in Under Knife and Birth 2, forward B+C. which got nerfed in the 1.10 patch notes because this move was too fucking goated. But before I talk about that move, let me talk about this one, which is his primary anti-air option. So if someone's jumping at you, forward or B plus C every single time. Either B plus C or force C. On counter hit, look at what happens. He jumps at me. I got all the time in the world to confirm. So I can confirm with 5B. I can confirm with 5C. I can confirm with, let's say, 236. This character gives you a lot of ways on kind of styling as an anti-air. And you can do it twice if you really want to style on your opponent. So FF on counter hit, it's a FF. And go for another combo. This is pretty dope. Now, I want y'all to utilize this in your pressure as well instead of it just being an anti-air option. Because if you quickly special cancel, Enkidu remains grounded. So you see, I press B plus C. He goes in the air fully and he's negative 32. But if I quickly input 236A, look what happens. He still remains grounded and this still counts as a low. This anti-air is a low. So if you do something, let's say 5C charge, which is ENKIDU'S overhead, or 6C, you can do his FF, which is a low, and go for like a high-low mix-up. So 5C, FF, and quickly special cancel to continue your pressure or to remain safe. So you do 5C, FF, dive kick, 5C charge, FF. But you have to do this really fast. Even I'm fucking up. And still remain safe. Right? So, really, really good. And you're not only restricted on just doing 236. You can do FF into parry. FF into 623. FF into 22B. You can special cancel with his FF. So, try to add this into your pressure. I guess the best sample I can give y'all is do 3C into FF and continue your pressure like that. You can do something like this and really become a Enkidu menace. Right? But I think that's all the unique properties behind ENKIDU'S regular FF. Is his anti-air as well as a low. And if you really special cancel quick, you can remain grounded to continue your pressure. Now, the goated force function is his forward B plus C. This move is so good that honestly it shouldn't be a move in fighting games because it goes through projectiles. It's also another one of ENKIDU'S counter hitting tools. Let's say High runs at you with 5C, right? It's a counter hitting tool. And if you don't charge it, because you can't charge this move, you get a combo. So this is a good way of you kind of stopping your opponent from continuous pressure. Yo, this is another get off me tool. And on top of the fact that, like I mentioned with ENKIDU'S parry, if you do forward B plus C normally, right? Is he on reverse action? No. If you do his forward B plus C normally, you can special cancel into parry. You can't special cancel into anything else but the parry. This move is the same concept like his other normals and his specials, right? So you could do 5BB into parry. You could do his forward B plus C into parry to still confuse your opponent. And if you look at the frame data, this is -4. This is a good way of also ending your pressure. You see, but if they shield, it's -7. But we don't care about that because now, if people mash on you, let's do it one more time. And you get the counter hit, you get awarded a full combo. So try to sneak parry in when you utilize his forward B plus C. So you can really put the conditioning on your opponent's mind. I remember I made someone rage quit by doing this one sequence over and over again. So trust me, Enkidu players, you're gonna have fun abusing the fuck out of this move. Now let me go in depth with Enkidu's charge forward B plus C. The only difference with Enkidu's charge is that it has way more range and you can special cancel. So let's say, for example, if you do something like 2C charge, you can also charge it with forward B plus C. And this is not bad whatsoever because look at the property. I'm going to put high to for a projectile. Right? Look what happens. It completely destroys anything that your opponent throws at you. So even if high was to, let's say, DP in this situation, look what happens. This move is a dumb as fuck. I'm gonna say it honestly. So doing 2C into charge or forward B plus C is not bad whatsoever. And if someone's not gonna react to it and you manage to connect the move with your opponent's character, you can special cancel. So you can do charge or forward B plus C into 2-2B, forward B plus C into 2-3-6, forward B plus C into dive kick or into 6-2-3. A lot of interesting shit, man. So this move is a great way of you getting in, combating any normal or any projectile that your opponent throws at you. And the charge version is great for continuing your pressure. Enkidu is a martial artist that don't really restrict himself on how he wants to pressure his opponent. So safe to say that this character is pretty fucking goated. I think the charge version, you can also do the parry as well, but since you're special canceling into other things, I don't want to say go for the parry. I'll say go for more of 2-3-6 and 2-2-B to keep your turn going. But now, let me talk about Enkidu's VOPAL trait. Enkidu's VOPAL trait is not hard to grasp whatsoever. Basically, his VOPAL trait gives him an increased amount of hit stun. You see, I have VOPAL as we speak. And now look what happens when I get a counter hit off a hide. It takes him a huge fucking minute to get up. He's like, God damn, bro, I can't believe you hit me with... Like, Enkidu hurts. So this character indirectly wants you to press buttons on him because if he manages to get the counter hit on you, he's winning 90% of the time in scrambly situations. So that's his VOPAL trait. Just means that he wins a lot in scrub fights, and yeah, it just gives him more hit stun. But the tip I want to leave you beginner players with, if y'all stuck with me to the entirety of this guide, is that please don't use 3C that much in the neutral. 3C is a good get-in tool when you're fighting people that don't know the matchup, but when you do, 3C starts to become a liability. I'd rather you new players get into the habit of throwing out 4C and combating with 2-3-6 B charge, or going for his forward B plus C, or learning how to dash block into parry. Something along those lines. Because the more you play this character, you're going to realize that his approach to neutral is relatively honest compared to the rest of the roster. So you have to learn how to play really defensive. You have to know how to cycle a lot of his tools to get in on your opponent reliably. So go into the practice mode. Set your dummy to zone at you and just practice the options he has to get in. So let me throw y'all a easy scenario. A lot of what high players would do is throw down B plus C and cover himself with dash C. mean, actually record it. This is what a lot of high players will do to you, right? So you see, I did 4C and I parried because I knew the sequence that high was gonna do to get in on me. If you did 3C in this situation, look what happens. Now you can't react or you can't block. You're as a good amount of recovery. In certain instances, you can get punished. So please, 4C is your best friend, and your parries in the mid screen, as well as 4C into like that. Learn to mix up your approach and mix up your counters in the neutral. That's the best tip I can leave you Enkidu players with. And really start conditioning your opponent's minds when you start incorporating parries into your basic normals. Start delaying your specials, and don't rely too much on parry in the defensive end. You can, but you're gonna get your ass eaten for it because people can just grab you 90% of the time. So that's a tip I want to leave y'all with. And if you like the video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below on what characters y'all would like to see in the upcoming guide. My name is Lightning Hearts. I've been playing this game for a long time, so hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. But hopefully y'all have an amazing day. Please stay blessed, tell someone you love them, and stay tuned to the next one. Peace out, y'all.